Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing? Welcome to our holiday special. I don't know that I'll do any singing or any dance routines, but it's almost Christmas time. 3 days away. Before I get too far into this, James, I think you are here. Can you tell me how does sound? Is sound good and clear? Sound good? I'm trying something different. It has an echo. Echoey. Echoey. Okay. Well, maybe that won't work. Booming like you're in a big room. Well, I'm kind of in a big room. Sort of. Sort of, kind of, maybe. Try something different here. Also, my hair is green. Well, it's a green. I'm good for Christmas here. Just a minute. All right. Is that better? Good. All right. Well, that experiment went to shit. Um, yeah, I'm going to be a little green tonight because I didn't think about it when I grabbed my shirt this morning. I grabbed a green shirt. So I had to turn it down a little bit so that I wasn't knocked out. And so you're getting a little green. That's all right. Like I said, it's Christmas time. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, Elmerin, how can you forget it's Wednesday? It's 3 days before Christmas. Friday night's Christmas Eve. Ho, ho, ho. I do plan on chopping my head off a little bit there uh, because it was Friday at work. I see. I get it. Um, I plan on just doing a 30-minute show tonight because I'm sure everybody's got things going on or whatever. Unless we just get into something big and bad that we're talking about, then we'll go longer. But don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. Let's see here. I have been working on some new releases as far as miniatures. I got a couple on mold, and I'm not happy with the way the molds turned out. So I tossed those this afternoon, and I'm starting over. I want some fiction. Well, don't know that I'll be here for Christmas. But I have been the textured bases. I have been working on. I've had several people ask me about getting those in 30 millimeter so that they match up with the bases that we supply, and just some other people wanted some smaller ones. When I very first started messing with them, the patterns didn't switch over as well as I thought they ought to. But I've kind of played with them a little bit, and I think I've got them pretty close. I've got a couple of more things I want to tweak on them, but probably one day next week, I will have some 30 millimeter textured bases in the designs that we talked about. So there's that. if you are one of those that want a 30 millimeter base. I figure it was going to be a pretty quiet night. There's probably a lot of people already getting ready for their stuff coming up. I know that I like big bases, and I cannot lie. No, I know you do. I know you like the 40 millimeter ones, which is fine. We already got those covered, but there are some people that want the 30 millimeter ones. I think that some of it's BattleTech people too. So, but that's cool. Bases are bases. I had a really, really neat idea for a new game board that I started working on a scenario the other day that is Mount Vernus are trying to root out some pirates, and they have taken position down inside a cavern at the end of a canyon, a small canyon. So I'm going to build an interior area for the cavern with some stuff inside there, and then the rest of the board, so that you can either come out of the cavern and fight, or you can go into the cavern and try to dig them out. But I thought that would be kind of a cool board, kind of a multi-level, have a roof that comes off the top of it and stuff. So looking forward to that. It'll be my new build project coming up in a couple of months. I'm in the process of I'm having to redo our racks that we use at the conventions. We have outgrown the ones that we have been using. So that project is requiring some work. I have not got the official word yet. I'm relatively 99% sure they are, but I haven't got the exact. And it's not that I'm sharing Reaper space, it's that I'm taking Reaper space over because they have more boost than they need. You put a red bottle on my shoulder. That way I have a little more Christmassy color, red and green. I can cycle up ahead. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Been a long day. Sounds like a zone we need in CAV, a pirate-infested area called Reaper Space. Oh, nah, Reaver. Let's go with Reaver. Not Reaper, Reaver Space. Oh. Ah. I know that I've been getting all our stuff ready. I always cook a prime rib for Christmas dinner and have our family and people over. Was not quite prepared for the cost this year. They ain't kidding when they say the price of beef has gone up. I think the butcher felt sorry for me when she handed me the when I went to pick it up. She's like, "Do you know how expensive this is?" I said, "I got a pretty good idea." So they better enjoy it this year. This might be the last year. I have to start selling a kidney. Well, I can do that. It'll only get me 2 more years. Oh, sorry. I can't stop yawning. Notice there's a couple of new retail stores, one down in Texas. I forget where the other one was that somebody posted that they had seen CAV out in the wild. I paid $63 for a smoked turkey breast at Thanksgiving. Ouch. What's crazy is here, this is what's wild, is of course, I live here in Kansas. We are a major cattle state. Literally, there's probably 10,000 cattle within 5 miles of me, at least 10,000. We have a slaughterhouse outside town, and unfortunately, they didn't have the what I needed, so I got it from our local Dillon store, which is Kroger's, and the meat is from like Illinois. Like, how can you? Why can't we just? Why can't the store just buy from a local place? Why are we paying all that extra for having beef brought to us when we're dead center in Beef USA? It's crazy. By the way, $18 a pound is what ribs going for, prime rib or ribeye. Yes, still thinking about CincyCon. I have not, I've not heard back from them yet, but hopefully that we'll have some more information here pretty soon. The main thing, CincyCon is, it's kind of one of those weird ones. They have it in a like a community center or something like that, or something out at the fair, or something like that. So it's kind of a weird setup with the way that they do it. So hopefully I will. It's weird, and I know conventions have to do what they have to do for the space that they have, but if you go to any of the major shows, any of the big shows, a typical booth, a standard booth is 10 by 10. Very easy, square, easy to work with, everything like that. So, when we built our booth and everything like that, we based it on 2 10 by 10 spots side by side. So, which works fine at all the major shows, Adepticon, Origins, whatever. But here over late, and I'm dealing with, I got into that with Genghis Khan, is their booth space is 8 by 8. So we bought 3 booth spots from them. That way we at least got our 20 feet, but we still don't have our 10-foot deep, which I can work with the deep part a lot easier than I can the width part. But I think the same thing is we're going to run into at CincyCon is I think their table spaces are even smaller. I think they're like 6 by 4. I guess they're thinking people just are going to set up a table, I guess. So that's part of too. I've got to get with them and see, because I ran into that a couple of years ago when we went up to, there was a show in Kansas City that was in a school gymnasium. And was that Recruits? I think maybe. And they had weird spaces like that were like 6 by 4 or something, 6 wide, 4 deep. And uh, we got it all straightened out so that we had enough space to put our booths and everything like that. But they had to kind of redo an area for us. So hopefully, CincyCon will be a little more accommodating as well. I know that little regional shows and stuff like that, are looking at, guys coming in and sitting at a table, I guess, and selling off some of their painted minis and old books or stuff like that. But, I know that there has been some other companies that have gone to that show. Um, so we'll figure it out. We'll make it work one way or the other. It's just we kind of have all of our stuff kind of in a system that all rolls into the trailer, rolls out of the trailer, sets up, we're ready to go. And I don't mind, buying the right space, because like on 6x4, I can buy, 8 spots or something like that, because generally they're cheaper, $50 spots or something like that. But the problem is then sometimes some of them limit you the amount of space that you can get, and then all of a sudden you're back to, okay, how am I going to make this work? I know that I talked to the Little Wars guys the other day and let them know that we wanted to come back to their show up in Chicago. They've moved to a new hotel too. They were at a Wyndham, I think. Now they've gone to a Sheraton for this year, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. It's always weird going to a show in a hotel you haven't been to before. I did finally get in my. I backed it like 3 years ago, maybe longer than that, at least 3 years ago. The guys down in New Zealand, Weta, that did Lord of the Rings, they did a District 9 Kickstarter based on the movie that what Ballenkoff or whatever his name is, Balkenkoff, did, and it finally showed up the other day. I totally even forgot about it. It's been so long ago. So this big box showed up. So I'm going to try tomorrow or Friday to break out the rules and see how difficult they are. It'll be kind of an interesting game to play with everybody on Christmas evening after dinner. We used to be really big with card games that we played after on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and stuff like that. Because my grandmother was huge, loved cards. Could play any card game you could think of, and anyone, if she didn't know how to do it, she'd look up the rules and be ready to go. But she passed away in 2019. And I just hadn't been the same. Just haven't been able to get motivated to play any cards without her being there. So, going to try a little different tact. See if I can get if the District 9 game will work for us. It came with. I think it was up to 4 players, but I got the full deal, and I think they did a expansion that came with part of it that allows you 2 more players to have 6 players. see. We've got anything new on the forums tonight? Jump over here to BattleNet. Nope, nothing new today. See if there's anything good going on Facebook that we can break down. Looks like Trenchworks, Dave Baker and them have some orc versions of some of the characters from Dune available. We got our Christmas card up today for CAV with the tiger on it, the deer killer. I haven't had anybody say anything about the little deer marker, kill markers on him. Usually somebody says something. Oh, what else? Oh, the Polyversal guys have been putting up some stats for their game with some of the with some CAV miniatures. What else? Oh, this was weird. I love heavy metal, the magazine. I've, for years and years, read it. And sometimes it gets kind of difficult to find. Used to, you could go to the comic book stores and pick it up, and then they started putting a brown wrapper on it and having it behind the counter, so you had to know which store to go to ask, hey, I got the new heavy metal. So a couple of years ago, I finally got a subscription. They were only doing like they were doing quarterly magazines, either bi-monthly or quarterly. But they, last year, they decided to go back to monthly. So anybody that was a subscriber at the time, they did a really, really good deal for if you signed up for 3 years worth of subscription for them. And I don't know if they're having problems with getting stuff out or whatever, but a couple of months in a row, I'll get my magazine, The World is Round, and then you don't. Then for a couple of months you don't get anything. Then all of a sudden a box shows up and it's got 2 or 3 issues in it. Well, the other day, because it's been a while, I got a box that had 4 months worth of issues in there. And I didn't think it had been that long since I had got my last one, but they maybe they're ahead or something. I don't know. But then the next day I got another box with 4 of the same magazines again. So now I've got four copies or 2 copies of 4 months, which works out okay because my son Nate has kind of fallen into the evil of reading them. So he's been snagging my copies and running off with them. So at least now I can give him 4 copies and give him something to read. Always love heavy metal. There's always some good stories in those. Let's see, anything else that's worth going over? Back in the day, when FASA was still around, they put out a game called Renegade Legion Centurion, which is a really, really good tank game with the way it plays and everything. And they just I don't know. They just never could get their head wrapped around it. But it's still out there. And there's a ship version too called Leviathan and Interceptor. There's Interceptor, which is fighters. Leviathan are the capital ships and everything like that. Always liked the universe. Always liked the idea behind it. But there's a Facebook group that I belong to, and there's some diehards on there that they put out some pretty cool stuff. I guess, and I'm not sure how this all worked. I know things change with the way they do some copyright and stuff anymore. But I guess another company has somehow claimed the copyrights or the trademarks to Renegade Legion, to Centura, all the stuff from the game or whatever, and they've put out their version of the game. It's some of the tanks look similar to the old ones, but yes, it's sci-fi. It's a Roman Empire kind of version. And so I'm not sure how that's going. I don't think that what I've read on the forums that the old school guys are really wild about it. I guess they've looked at it and downloaded. They had some sample rules, and I've seen some artwork and stuff for it. And they had a Facebook page that I was following, and I guess they had so many problems with people getting on there and causing problems that they kicked everybody off and then went private. So I don't know what's going on with it anymore. But it goes back. I've always wanted to do a tank game. I want to do a tank game. 15 millimeter. That when I originally got into heavy gear, that was when it very first came out. It was HO scale, and that is what I mean. I needed another mech game at the time, like a hole in my head. But I got into it, and the company Raffin that did the miniatures for it, I was good friends with them. And helped them out with some stuff. And I was actually supposed to help the heavy gear guys put together they were going to do their version of like Mech Force, because I had helped with Mech Force back in the day with BattleTech and stuff like that. So they were wanting to do their version of Mech Force. And we met at Gen Con and talked about what ideas and what I thought we could do and stuff like that. And then I guess they were not impressed enough that we never did go ahead with anything. So they all had a big falling out with Raffam too. So, but they did HO scale figures for them. So the gears are like, I don't know, 4 inches tall, something like that. And I've still got piles of them. It's still in the pack from the deals. And I've never quite understood that. I know that they changed scale. Part of that was kind of the fallout with them and Raffin, but of course metal was expensive, and they were trying to size down a little bit and be able to do figures and stuff that way. But then they did the Kickstarter and went to plastic, and I will never understand why I don't know if they went even to a smaller scale or something like that, but man, once they went to plastic, I'd have went back to HO scale or at least 15 millimeter scale in a heartbeat. And I'd have been back on it. I'd have played heavy gear again. But I just don't understand. I regret not going to 15 millimeter when we redid CAV. The plan at the time was because we were trying to use the old masters um, but I wish that I had. Well, I know I plan on releasing some 15 millimeter stuff regardless. I've got a 15 millimeter despot sitting on my desk that is cool as crap. Even if we never do anything with it game wise. Oh, well, the good thing about you know Flames of War and Team Yankee and stuff like that, with the 15 millimeter stuff, it looks good. But World War II games, modern miniatures games and stuff like that, is to really play it, and somewhat stay a little accurate to what they're doing. You need a lot of stuff out there, and at 15 millimeter scale, you can turn your board into a parking lot quick. At least, in my idea with a 15 millimeter sci-fi tank game, you have a little more control over the direction that you want the story and the stuff to go out. And don't have to have as much stuff on there. So I see that Will is similar, is asking about an Ed 209. Did your brother get the Ed 209? Is the Fan Fortress, is that in Tulsa? I'd love, years ago, somebody did a vinyl kit for Ed 209. It was a really nice kit I'd have liked to got a hold of. All right, well, it's about all I see mech-wise on Facebook today. Oh, somebody did some cool crystals. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and you don't have to play. I mean, you can play a game like that. It just, when you play modern miniatures, World War II stuff like that, it just, to kind of get that feel, you want more stuff on there. It's not, I don't know, just weird, I guess, in how I look at things. All right, anything else anybody needs me to kind of cover or go over? Um, Before I call it a night. Bueller. Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that. have you play? I guess have you played the Twilight 2000 game? I still got my copy sitting next to the bed. I've opened the box, and have looked through it. I just haven't gone any further yet. I'm not as wild about the artwork. I really like the artwork in the original Twilight 2000. It was all kind of a pencil stuff that they did that was really cool. I have not. I kind of thought that I would have heard from the printer this week. But it may be that the guy that's doing it is actually coming to the States next month, first of next month. So I guess I'll holler at him tomorrow. He may be planning on just bringing it with him. Maybe that may be what he was thinking. That way, take a chance of it not getting lost or getting broke. So I know that the guys down in Texas that are going to produce it for us keep asking me, "Where's it at? Where's it at?" So. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to call it a night. It's been a long day, and I'm ready to go home. And I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. I appreciate the support. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas if you observe that holiday. The Twilight Now, no giant ants. Oh, man. How can you not have no giant ants? So, Gamma World, you need to play Gamma World. That would always be a good one. You can have modern tanks with giant ants. So anyway, I will be back next Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have some new figures to go over. If this next batch of molds turns out better than the last one. It's always nice to try to learn how to do new things. So anyway, take care. Merry Christmas. Be safe. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your family, your friends, and we will talk at you later.